Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Douglas Now Live. I'm Robert Preston Jr., and here are your top stories for today. The hearing regarding the proposed 60-house commercial chicken farm slated for southern Coffee County is in its second day at the Coffee County Courthouse. After a full day of testimony yesterday and half a day of testimony today, Judge Kelly Brooks has ruled that any future proceedings will take place in Coffee County. Now, this is one of a couple of motions that Judge Brooks has ruled on. He's ruled on two. He's got one more, which is the big one that he has not ruled on. Yet. The defense have requested a change of venue for any future proceedings to Cobb County. They also petitioned the court to remove former landowner David Varnador from the lawsuit, since Varnador had sold the land and had no interest in the farm. However, Judge Brooks ruled that Varnador would not be removed from the suit. He also has ruled that any future proceedings regarding this farm will take place here in Coffee County. We have a picture over here. You can see this is an outline or an aerial map of the proposed site. This the defendant's property. This is the site where the proposed chicken houses will be built. These others around here are the plaintiffs in this suit: Hamp Adams, Rebecca Temple, Sims Funeral Home. This is Satilla Memorial Gardens. Sims Funeral Home owns that. Also, Bruce Brooker here. The Satilla River is right through here. Bruce Brooker and LeGrand Roberts own property on the other side of the river, so you can't see it very well, but this is the riverbed. Now, there is one big motion still left on the table, and this, of course, is what people are waiting on, and that is whether or not the project will continue. Now, we have more testimony scheduled for this afternoon, and Judge Brooks has stated that he will make a ruling today, one way or the other, on this particular issue. He has court dates around the circuit tomorrow and Thursday, and he has vowed to wrap this up today. And I believe the words that were used earlier in court were, even if it takes all night. So I'm getting a lot of people calling and asking me questions, want to know how this is going, and we're not going to know for a while. I mean, this could go past 4 o'clock into the evening hours, depending upon how long it takes for all the testimony to get wrapped up with. So we are expecting a ruling today, and but we don't know when. I would expect after 4 p.m. and maybe even as late as 7 or 8 o'clock or beyond, depending again upon how long the proceedings today take. But we do have rulings on a couple of motions. One, any future proceedings will take place here in Coffee County, and also David Varnador will remain a part of the lawsuit should it move forward. And of course, I'm from a family of lawyers, but I am no attorney myself. So, depending upon what happens today with the second ruling, I think that will determine on what happens. Of course, whichever side comes out on the short end of Judge Brooks' ruling does have an opportunity to appeal, and we'll see exactly how that goes. But we do expect a ruling today. We don't know when. As soon as we have that information, we will let you know. We would like to thank our friends at WALB for providing us with these updates. We have a great working relationship with that network, and we are appreciative for their assistance. We help them when we can. They help us when they can, and really, really good folks over there. They have a reporter in the courtroom, was there all day yesterday, and will be there all day today. So yeah, they'll be providing a detailed report later on as well. But that's what we're waiting on to find out whether or not this project will proceed, and it will likely take many, many more hours before we get that. But we should have a ruling today. Big story coming out of Monday Night Football last night. Not good news for Pearson native and former Coffee Trojan Tyreek Hill, Miami Dolphins wide receiver. If you are a football fan, you already know that Tyreek Hill suffered a season-ending injury last night in the third quarter of the Dolphins game against the New York Jets. This is a potentially career-ending injury for Tyreek as well. The injury is a dislocated knee. If you saw it last night, the initial play from the side, he got tackled awkwardly, came down, hyperextended that left knee. It looked bad, but it didn't look as bad as the other views. And of course, you can see videos about this online at the on the various platforms. But from a front-on view, and I saw it on X. Right, it was posted right after it happened. You could tell that Tyreek's leg was significantly damaged. They say it is a knee dislocation, and he is supposed to undergo surgery later on today. Now, what will determine whether he can recover or not, or whether he will be able to continue his career, is, of course, the extent of the damage. Now, you know that the major ligaments in his knee, the ACL, the MCL, the PCL, you know they're toast. You could look at the injury and see that, but you can recover from that. All right, you can rebuild those ligaments and fix that. And plenty of football players come back from that type of an injury. Where it gets difficult and where it gets scary is if there was any nerve damage or blood vessel damage. You have a major blood vessel that runs down the back of the knee, also a major nerve there. If the nerves are damaged, if the blood vessels are damaged, that is where recovery could be difficult, if not impossible. There are two pretty good examples you can look at. ESPN listed these this morning of players who have suffered both types of injuries. One, of course, and University of Georgia fans will be familiar with this. Nick Chubb injured his knee in college. He also injured it again in the NFL with the Cleveland Browns. Chubb tore his knee up, but did not suffer any nerve damage or any blood vessel damage. He came back. He had a really productive career with the Cleveland Browns. He hurt his knee again. He recovered from a second knee injury, a knee reconstruction, and is now with the Houston Texans. He has a more limited role, but he is playing, scored a touchdown this year. So he has come back twice from significant knee injuries. Another player, and this is, Georgia fans may remember this, but I know SEC fans most certainly will. South Carolina's Marcus Lattimore. He hurt his knee in college, and he ended up having surgery. It was repaired. He was drafted in the 4th or 5th round, something like that, but he never played a game in the NFL. He had nerve damage and blood vessel damage in his knee. So while it was repaired, he did initially get a shot in the NFL. Because of that knee injury, he was unable to play, and his NFL career never materialized. So we'll know more after surgery today, and I think it's telling that they're going ahead and operating on Tyreek this afternoon. We'll know more after that procedure. But if he is able to recover, and let me say this, those of us here at Douglas Now certainly want him to recover. We are huge Tyreek Hill fans. And when I say that, we're Tyreek Hill fans, but we are not Tyreek Hill apologists. All right. So we're not going to make excuses for poor decisions that he makes. And he has made several poor decisions, and there's some investigation still underway regarding some of those alleged decisions that he has made this year. It hasn't been a good year for Tyreek. And we're going to cover the good with the bad. We're not going to excuse bad behavior and poor decisions. But what we hope happens here is that Tyreek is able to get his knee fixed. He's able to recover and return to the Dolphins or to another team. Now, the Dolphins are going to be in an interesting position once they figure out exactly what's happening here. Even if Tyreek can recover and can return to the NFL, it doesn't necessarily mean that he is going to make a return with the Miami Dolphins. And in a lot of ways, it makes sense for the Dolphins to try and deal Tyreek. Now, I wrote something a couple of weeks ago stating that I wished that Tyreek would get out of Miami. The Miami Dolphins experiment and Tyreek Hill have not worked out. Okay, he's had a couple of good seasons, one really good season, but overall, I think if you look at the trajectory of his career since getting to Miami, it has not been a good one. Paid off financially to some degree, but professionally, not so much. And his stock was not at its highest when this season started. And my hope was that he would be able to find another landing spot. Miami would deal him to another team and get him out of Miami. Now you have a situation where, coming off a couple of bad years, his stock was already, I don't want to say bad, but it wasn't at its peak. And now he has suffered a catastrophic knee injury. When he returns, it's going to be even lower than it is now. I would imagine if Miami trades Tyreek, or they can cut him outright in the offseason, if they do that, he will be picked up by another team. At 85 to 90%, Tyreek Hill is still better than most receivers in the NFL. He's also going to be 32 years old. Again, coming off of a catastrophic knee injury, I would imagine the upfront money, the guaranteed money, would be on the low side of what he's used to, but it would probably be an incentive-laden contract, which would be very lucrative if he were able to meet those milestones, or those those incentives in the contract. So there's a lot of uncertainty right now. There's never been more uncertainty in Tyreek Hill's career than there is right now. And what we certainly hope happens here is that we find out that there is no nerve damage, there is no blood vessel damage, and he is able to begin rehab immediately. And it's going to take probably at least a year. I would be surprised if he is able to recover. I would be surprised if he was ready for week 1 of next season. But Tyreek has defied the odds throughout his career, and he is, of course, an absolutely phenomenal athlete. And people who perform at his level also have amazing recovery abilities. So if anybody can do it, he can. And he was having a pretty good year when this happened. He had 21 catches for 65 yards and a touchdown this season. Dolphins not doing good. They went on and won last night. They were 0-3. They got a win, but it was a very costly win for Miami. So we're going to wait and see what happens after surgery today. But yeah, the big story coming out of Monday Night Football, Tyreek's injury, season ending at least. We hope that's as bad as it is. We hope that's as bad as it gets, that he's able to fix this and continue with his career. He's still got a few more years left. Right now, when you look at Tyreek's numbers, and I'm no football analyst by any stretch, but when you go to ProFootballReference.com, which is a fantastic resource, and it has the various metrics by which you measure players. They also have baseball reference as well. But on Tyreek's Hall of Fame monitor, he is sitting right now at a 95.07. The average Hall of Famer, Hall of Fame wide receiver, his score comes in at 100.46. So he's borderline according to Pro Football Reference. I think Tyreek has the career numbers to be in the Hall of Fame. But we would like to strengthen that case a little bit more. So we certainly hope that Tyreek is able to come back. But it was bad. If you watch it, it was a scary, scary injury. It was gruesome. He appeared in good spirits as he left the field, as good a spirits as he could be in. But this is not good. And from a personal standpoint, this pretty much ends my NFL season. I am an Atlanta Falcons fan, as well as I cheer a little bit for the Jaguars. Probably should be a bigger Jaguars fan than I am, given their close proximity to us. But the two teams that I pay the most attention to are the Atlanta Falcons and whoever Tyreek is playing for. And now that Tyreek is out, don't have any reason to pay very much attention to the NFL season, because I have absolutely zero, and when I say zero, I mean below zero, negative faith in the Atlanta Falcons. None whatsoever. I have a love-hate relationship with the Falcons, mostly hate, especially since 2017. But, maybe the Jaguars can turn it around and give us a little bit of excitement as the season wears on. But again, we're wishing Tyreek the best and hope that surgery goes well today and they find that it's just ligament damage. They can fix that and he will be able to make a return to the NFL. At that point, it will be between his agent and the Miami Dolphins to figure out what to do with him, if he will continue his career or if he will head somewhere else. Those are our top stories for today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in here with us on Douglas Now. This is something that we are going to be doing regularly moving forward. Our regular installments here of Douglas Now Live in this particular format, in this setting, in this background. And so you'll be seeing more of this again. Tonight, not sure what format we'll do, if we'll do video or if we'll make a post on our page or write a story. We've got several different options we'll have to figure out once we hear that ruling from the Coffee County Courthouse. That is the big story that we are watching today. We have been assured by the court that we will have a ruling. Of course, whichever way that ruling goes, it will probably not be the end of this case, but we will follow it all the way to its conclusion, whatever that conclusion may be. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. We will be in touch later on today. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. We'll see you next time.